Hello, I'm Lauren, and this is Sherry. Uh,
Hi.
and we're excited for today for episode 5. And we're going to be talking about myths and conceptions on foster care and adoption. We're going to go through foster parents. Are they in it for the money? Foster children are bad kids. You have to be perfect to be a foster parent. Um, do you have to be married, or can you foster parent by yourself? Fostering always leads to adoption. Foster care hurts your biological children. Foster parents can't form bonds with the children. Children have too many behavioral problems. It's too heartbreaking to return children to their birth families. And myth number 10, foster parents don't receive adequate support. So we're going to be going through and breaking those myths together and discussing them with you guys. So we'll get started.
All right. So, myth number one, foster parents are in it for the money. Well, the reality of that is there is financial support, and that financial support is to provide the foster parent um, with means to cover basic needs for the child, such as food, clothing, and housing. It is not a support of, it is not a source of income. Um, and many foster parents often spend their own money to provide extra care and for experiences for the child. So, let me see. I'm trying to think of something else to add to that as far as you do need to provide um, you need to have an income coming in order to qualify for being a foster parent. So this financial support cannot be your only income coming into the family. You have to be able to support your family. So anyway, so Lauren.
Okay, so yeah, I think that one's pretty self-explanatory. So we'll go on to myth number 2. Foster children are bad kids. The reality is that children enter foster care due to circumstances beyond their control, such as abuse, neglect, or family issues. They are not bad kids. They are often victims of their situation and need a support stable environment to survive to thrive. Sorry. So, some of them are going to have more problems than others, depending on the situation. Um, they're kids that they're going to, if they're given support and if they're given a stable environment, their kids tend to thrive on stability and on routines. And I know, like Sherry, uh, they run a very, I don't want to say a tight ship, but they're very organized and very structured. And her kids have always thrived on that. I've watched that, and they've done extremely well in that type of environment. In our house, it's not quite as structured as I would like it to be, but it still is. I mean, it still is. It's a work in progress, and we're, a stable family that is loving and supportive and helps them out as much as possible. So anyway, so yeah, so and you are going to run across some children that have very severe problems, and in those cases you're going to be given um, uh, support that you need and help that resources that will be helpful to them, to help them turn their lives around, basically. And if they're younger children, same thing, they can go to therapy, whatever it might be they need. And also another thing is they also will come, they have insurance. All of the children have state insurance, so that's super helpful as you're needing different kind of therapies or medical things come up, that's taken care of, and dental as well.
Yes, and so we've adopted 7. We've done many other foster kids. Um, so generally, the kids that come into your house, they might come in they could be angry, they could be frustrated, they could be depressed. There's all sorts of emotions that come with these kids. Some of them will once they realize they're safe and they have 3 meals a day and they have clean clothes to wear and they have a bed to sleep in, and they can depend on that you are going to take care of them. sometimes these kids come out of it and they flourish.
Yes.
There are some kids who are need that extra support. And so, we have a couple kids that struggle, and we're there for them to this day, even though they're old enough to be out of the house, and they are out of the house. Um, we're still there for them. We're still their parents. And anyway, you just got to take it as it goes. And some of the support that you might, DHS might, give you options to pick like a support. You may find another support that you want this child to be in, and you can do that. So, anyway, okay, so on to myth number 3. You have to be perfect to be a foster parent. Lauren, are you perfect?
I keep telling my husband that I'm getting closer. Not really.
Well,
No,
I'm not either.
no.
I am not either.
Family will be the first to tell you that I'm
Yeah, ask any of my kids. I
Yeah.
always tell people don't talk to my kids because they'll be
Right.
honest with you.
Yeah, it's not the truth.
So, foster parents come from all walks of life and are not expected to be perfect. What is required is a safe, loving, stable environment for the children. Agencies provide training and support to help the foster parents meet the needs of the children in their care. So, perfection is not part of it, it's just an open door and a heart that wants to do good for these kids. And so, nobody's expecting you to be perfect.
Right. And I'll add in there, that being said, if you have severe problems in your home, if somebody has a problem with uh, drugs, alcohol, pornography, or worse, I would highly discourage you to get foster children involved with that because it will blow up in your. You want to get those things taken care of and dealt with before you bring in a child, another child besides, say, your own, if you have your own, into a situation like that. Those kind of things are definitely not a good choice for foster parents.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. Myth number 4 is only married couples can be foster parents. No, we have friends that are single foster parenting, and they will let all different types of situations can also be foster parents. So the key requirement is the ability to provide a stable, loving home. So yeah.
All right. So, myth number 5, fostering always leads to adoption. Um, that is not true. So, while some foster placements may lead to adoption, the primary goal of the foster care is to reunite children with their biological families whenever possible. Foster parents often play a crucial role in supporting this process. So, I've had, the ones that we've adopted, they've become legally free in our care. And so that's why we were able to adopt them. They were in foster care. The goal when we first got them was for reunification. However, in their cases, there's 3 different sibling groups that I have. Um, you know, Something happened and they became legally free. And so that's why I was able to adopt them. However, we've had several foster children that were adopted by relatives, returned to the biological mom and dad, or returned to the mom, or returned to the dad. Every situation is different. But just so you know, going into it, the main goal of almost all of these, unless it's a like a violent situation or something that prevents them to be reunified with their family, it is always the goal to be reunited with their family if they could make that happen.
Always. In fact, even if the parent has just gotten out of prison, That is the goal. Because, in the way that I've always kind of reminded myself is that even though I love these kids and I feel like I'm doing a good job parenting, um, if their biological parent is able to parent them, then who am I to say? It's not a matter of, oh, am I a better parent than them? If I do this and this to provide better for the child than their biological parent is. That's not how it worked. God gave, I mean, otherwise, if it was that way, then God would give only the best parents in the world would have children and the other ones would not. It's like, that's not, that might sound kind of weird. But I just remind myself, it's not about whether I think I'm a better parent than them or not. That is their mommy and daddy, and I need to always remind myself of that's their flesh and blood, and if they can heal themselves enough to parent them, then I need to support that 100%.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, let's see, myth number 6: foster care hurts your biological children. The reality, while fostering can be challenging, it can also be a positive and enriching experience for biological children. They learn empathy, compassion, and resilience. Open communication and preparation are key to ensuring a smooth transition for all family members. Basically, life is going to hurt your biological children. Having you as a parent is going to hurt your biological children at times. Basically, it's like, every part of life can hurt your kids, and we want to protect them and stop them from having pain. But honestly, I think it's important to more so teach your children to be warriors and survivors of pain, and be able to handle and process pain in a healthy way. Because certainly my kids have been hurt at times by some of the foster parent children that have been in our care, but they've also been hurt by family members, and by the world and their church and their friends. So it's part of life. So I would definitely say. Now, that being said, I think you do want to be careful and pick and choose what you would consider the safest choices. If you know that you have young children, don't pick an older child that has a problem, they won't let you. But you want to make sure you're not picking an older child that has a history of abusing children. That would be, and that can come up. So you do want to be careful and know as much as you can know about the children you're bringing into your home.
Right. And a lot of times, if DHS knows that is the case with a certain child, they will say this can only be the only child in the home.
Yeah.
So they don't keep that sort of thing private. They let you know if they know in advance.
Yeah.
With us adopting 7, I can tell you that my whole family is a better family because of my kids that we brought into our home.
Oh, they are. That's so
all
cool.
of them.
Good point.
My biological kids and the foster kids, like the ones that I've adopted, and I brought in other kids. These adopted kids are even better kids with the ones that came in after them, because they do learn empathy and sympathy, and it just shapes them into good people. And so I have no regrets. Of doing this. It hasn't all been flowers, and it's been a hard road, but I'm so glad we did it. And my biological children would be so mad knowing what they know now, and if I didn't do it, they would be very, very mad. They love their siblings. So
I love that. That is such a testimony to a positive effect on your family. I love that about your family.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, your turn.
Oh, is it my turn? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Foster parents can't form bonds with the children. And the reality is, foster parents are encouraged to form healthy, supportive bonds with the children in their care, and you will, for sure. These relationships are vital for the child's emotional and psychological development, even if the placement is temporary. That is so true. I mean, these kids are looking to you for to be that person that they can feel safe with. That and you know, you're not going to replace their mommy or and their daddy, but you can be somebody that can be safe, that they can learn to trust people. It's like they can start learning the process of trusting people, and it's a precious thing. I mean,
Yes.
it's the precious thing to have that, and to know that you've had that kind of an impact on a child's life, that they can take with them forever, whether they more than likely will move on and either, you know, go be reunified with their home, with their family, or be adopted by a family member, a grandparent, or whatever ends up happening. You can have that positive impact, and don't ever be afraid to bond with them because you want
Right. Well, and my kids, all of them, I only had, out of all the kids that we have brought in, there was only, I want to say, two or three foster kids that we took in, that called me by my name. Everybody else, everybody else, and we took in young teenagers like 12 and 13s. Um, they wanted to call me mom, and that was their way of like accepting me as,
yes.
you know. And sometimes it would make the biological family upset, but I also worked on having a safe relationship with them where I was not a threat to them, that I wanted them to know I was taking care of them and they weren't going to be hurt in my home. And so it made them be softer to me. Um, but anyway, yeah, so you definitely are encouraged to bond with these kids. These kids need it, they need to feel loved and accepted.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, your turn.
All right. So, foster children have too many behavior problems. Um, Actually, why some foster children may exhibit behavioral issues due to their past experience, many do not. With the right support and stability, many children in foster care thrive and overcome their challenges. So, actually, kids come in very frustrated, angry. Um, some of them, not all of them. Some of them come in and they come in terrified, scared. But as you get to know them, um, those that have behavior issues, and some of them, their behaviors were off the chart. But it didn't take long at all for them to really calm down. Like you could just feel it. It was like a thermometer that was coming down.
Hmm.
Once their frustrations weren't no longer fed, and their frustrations were, there's no food in the house, there's, our house is filthy dirty, or all this stuff that can really weigh on a child, because a child doesn't have a choice, they have to go along with whatever situation they're in.
Right.
So but once they're in, some of them have watched their mom get physically abused, or their sibling. I mean, there's just a lot of pent up frustration and anger, and they're trying to express it. So once you get them into a nice, calm place, you could see their frustration just dissolve, and it's
Hmm.
really a beautiful thing to watch.
That's awesome. That's amazing. Okay. Myth number 9. It's too heartbreaking to return children to their birth families. The reality, while it can be emotionally challenging, returning children to their birth families is often a positive outcome. Absolutely positive outcome. Foster parents can find fulfillment in knowing they played a crucial role in the child's life and helped reunite a family. And that's absolutely true. And even if it's not, even if they're not returned to the parents, if they end up going with a family member, it's still the same thing. It's like they're just, you're forever going to be a part. They're gonna they're gonna have your heart forever, and they're more than likely gonna have a part of your heart forever. And is it hard? Yeah. But I mean, parenting is hard. It's hard when your child grows up and moves out. That's heartbreaking. But you want that. You want that for your children. You want them to be able to function in the adult world. And it just comes much sooner, usually with foster parenting. So it's kind of similar, really. And it's a beautiful thing, even though it's a hard thing. So don't be afraid of that.
Right. Well, and if you watched episode 3, you'll see me tearing up when Lauren is describing her situation because um, I was attached to her kids too.
Pretty special kids. For sure.
So it is very, very painful, but they were excited talking to them. They were so excited for their new beginning,
They were.
and just know that you are doing an incredible service to these kids. Incredible service. So, all right, our last one is foster parents don't receive adequate support. Um, Actually, I was surprised at how much support DHS really did give, and how much support is out there separate from DHS. So foster parents receive various forms of support. Um, they have, they have training, they have financial assistance, respite care, access to resources and professionals to help address the needs of a child and the family. And the world is your oyster as far as fine tuning that specific need that your child needs. And it's just like your biological kid. So if your biological child had a need, wouldn't you like uncover every rock to find that, find
Yeah.
what could help them? Well, that is exactly what you do with these foster kids, because when I've ever taken in kids, these are now my children. Even though they belong to the state at that point, I still view them and care for them as if they are my family. And I will turn over every rock in order to help them individually. And so there is so much support. You're gonna, by going into this realm of foster care and adopting, your circle is, you're gonna enter into a whole nother circle of friends who are doing the same thing you are, and you can glean from there's support groups out there.
Amazing support groups.
Huh?
There's amazing support groups.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Especially where we fostered. Another thing is some of the children are placed with a CASA, and that was a huge support. I want to do a whole segment on that because there's just that they are the children that we did have a CASA for were just amazing. And CASA stands for, do you remember? I'm not getting
No, it's an acronym. I don't know.
court
Appointed.
appointed. Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Court
And then
appointed.
N cans. No, I. Oh my gosh.
This is getting good. This is getting good. It's court appointed support advocate, I believe. I think, and they go to they. I mean, they have an incredible. I'll move on quickly here. The CASAs have an incredible amount of authority over the case.
Yes, they do.
They get to go to court. They will interview you. They will. Ours were amazing, but I won't go into great depth with that because again, I would like to do a segment on that because our CASAs were so helpful to us, and just they were such a blessing, and even to my biological children as well. Just so kind to us and so helpful. So anyway, that's just my little input.
All right. Well, there you go. That's our spill for today, and I'm so glad that you guys joined us. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share it to anybody that you would like that you think would get anything from this. We really want to be a support to you, and we are just so thankful that you're with us.
Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.
Bye.